Greetings, 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 greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live or listening to replay. Definitely had a great episode on Tuesday, yesterday. You all can feel free to go back and listen to that episode, Private Facts versus Public Opinions. But we definitely wanted to do this episode because this is going to be a great one. So, once again, we appreciate you for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is The Vault, episode 239, Where to Put Your Money 2020. This isn't financial advice. We always like to preface our episodes so people don't get it twisted when people go broke. People want to find somebody to blame. We live in a financial market where people don't take financial responsibility. They want to give it over to financial advisors. So we just want to make it very clear it's not financial advice, but we're definitely going to talk about where to put your money in 2020 because we see where Warren Buffett's putting his money. He's putting his money where his mouth is in 2020. We see that Warren Buffett, one of the best financial investors of literally the past 50 years, publicly has bought a gold mine. And a lot of people were wondering should they buy gold right now. But see, one of the best investors, he didn't buy gold, he bought a mine. See, whether you all know it or not, see, on the private side, people go buy those things for tax benefits. So for all you all that are looking at Warren and saying, Warren Buffett bought a gold mine, yes, Warren Buffett bought a gold mine. But Warren Buffett as well utilizes these entities as tax write offs. So whether you know it or not, oil, sometimes precious metals, there's no guarantee just because of a seismograph being done that there's a certain amount of gold or silver that's going to be extracted from this environment. So we just want to make that very clear when a lot of people are looking at these entities and saying, "Hey, where am I supposed to put my money?" And we can see where Warren Buffett put his money, which was in a gold mine. So if you're listening live, feel free to type into the chat where you're listening from. But we're going to go ahead and make a couple announcements on this episode because this is the episode where, once again, people want to know where to put their money in 2020. We saw stock splits happen. People are very uneasy about, you know, the stock market and, oh, where do we put our money in the stock market and things like that if it's, if it's questionable. So, we saw a major company, you all are familiar with MasterCard, coming through the pike today, actually launched that they are testing an environment for central banking currency. So they're called what do they call them? CBDCs. So when you see this term in the public, CBDCs, which is a central bank digital currency. Now let's just think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Aren't the banks the same people that literally shut people's bank accounts down for using digital cryptocurrencies within the past 2 to 3 years after the Bitcoin bubble bust? And now we see these companies that have shaken, baked out the common everyday man or woman out of their assets, stole their wealth, literally are inside of these environments at an institutional level, which is a banking level, central banking level at that, central banking digital currency level, are literally inside the marketplace investing in these in assets right now. Things that they haven't even classified fully by the CBOE as full assets. That's why if you tell a bank right now that you are purchasing cryptocurrencies through their bank, they might shut your bank account down on the retail side. This is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. But people say, where should I put my money in 2020? Well, we see where people are putting their money. We see where the institutions are putting their money. You got to follow the money. So, MasterCard has announced today that they are launching a proprietary tool targeted at central banks, which will allow these banks to test their central banking digital currencies. That means that the programs that these banks are coming up with their central bank digital currencies all around the world, they're going to allow people to utilize money transfers. What else do they have on here? Money transfers using Swift payments, and they're going to do it a lot easier. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, these companies are competing with a digital ledgering system. The digital ledgering technology has moved into effect, and the banks have actually funded this now. Bottom line, So 70% of central banks are entertaining the idea of a digital currency in some form. This was reported the Bank of International Settlements. So if you don't know who the BIS is, they're the company that literally is buying out what are they? They're not buying out anybody. They give liquidity and debt for, it's like the IMF. Like they have the BIS, they have the IMF. Appreciate Alaska tuning in live. Feel free to type into the chat where you're listening in live from. But we want to go there. You all can look that article up. It's on Cointelegraph. If you're not in the loop with Cointelegraph, you all can look at Cointelegraph. Somebody actually typed in it to the chat. We're not promoting any digital currency, so let it be known on this episode. You know, we have to give a disclosure to the middle class and the unaccredited investors. So, you know, you got to go do your research. But XRP, somebody typed into the chat, they're trading for 24 cents. And you all can look that up on Cointelegraph, the article as well, to see that, you know, MasterCard is actually in bed with uh, allowing these CBDCs to actually be utilized through their platform. We're going to go to another article real quick because we talked about uh, the crash of what is that? The crash of the market that happened a couple days ago, for a few days, where people saw their stocks get split in half and don't know how they didn't make money. Well, clearly you lost money, and so now we get to what is actually reported via the Social Security Administration. The average retired worker gets about $1,500 from Social Security in 2020. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we got somebody that typed into the chat that actually said they're from Southern California. So shout out to Southern California. We already know if you're living in Southern California, $1,500 and buying a house in Southern California is not going to get you much. But they say nearly 9 out of 10 people that reach the age of 65 or older receive benefits. The system is essentially part of retiring. The amount you receive is based on your income. Now, they actually wanted to do that survey for the $1,500 or more based off of someone making $50,000 a year. Now, you think about the gig society, you think about so many people actually being a part of the society where they're not making $50,000. What is that, gross or net? Because think about it, if you're making 50 gross, you're barely coming home with 38 net. So that's not 50 net. Let's just go 50 gross is not 50 net. So you got to what? If you're pulling off 50 net, what are you making? 65? 70? You're making almost 20K more than what you're paying in taxes? So let's talk about it. They say, remember, Social Security was not designed to be your sole source of income for retirement. And the totals are always changing. So you will need to be serious about savings for retirement. Now, what happened with the stock splits recently? What happened with people's 401ks at the beginning of COVID-19? People still thinking their portfolios are going to recover. What happened to people that literally went and bought gold? They thought they were slick. They were going to go buy gold and silver. Gold didn't even go up more than $700 to $1,000. Gold's been sitting at 14, 15, 16 for almost since 08, 09 type status. And then within a year's period of time, it goes from 1800 to goes up to 18, goes up to 21. And where is it at right now today? You all can do your research. Where's gold at today, ladies and gentlemen? Gold is where? Less than $2,000. How is that your retirement? So let's talk about even silver. Silver's done really well. It's not at its high from 2008. See how the market is manipulated? When you go look at where silver was at in 2008, silver was over $30, over $35, over $40, ladies and gentlemen, in the '07 to '08, '09 era. And people say, oh, should I purchase it? What are you supposed to do? Buy low, sell high. Gold's at a high, silver's still not at a high, and people are wondering which one should they get. So then we get to, oh, well, what is this? This whole retirement situation. So where is your retirement situation going? Where is your money being grown in a compounded way. Not the 401k that's actually market based. 401ks aren't compounding. IRAs aren't compounding. And they're tied to the market. Well, guess what? Here's a term that most people are unaware of. That they're going to get eaten alive over the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. The young millennials, when they get to reach 65, 65, 75. What happened to this term called inflation? Did you forget about inflation? So you think you can barely live on $1,500 in Southern California right now. You can barely live off $1,500 in Chicago. You can barely live off $1,500 at 65 now in Miami. You can barely live off $1,500 in the District of Columbia. You can definitely not live off $1,500 in the capital of New York. But guess what? People still think, oh, I got to contribute to the system. The system that's literally about the faith. They say 9 out of 10 people that get to 65 are almost fully dependent on it. Ladies and gentlemen, do your research. Younger people aren't having children right now. Younger people, millennials, say they can't afford children. So they're not putting their money into having families. Bottom line. But where's their money going? You want to know what the issue is? They're not even making money in the millennial category. How many people do you know right now that are computer programmers in the millennial category? How many people do you know are in developer technology situations in the millennial category other than driving for Uber, other than driving for Amazon? Really? That's where we are in 2020? The millennials, they're not even in the development of the technology? Not the entire generation. Ladies and gentlemen, what's 20%? That means 80% of that population, they're not going to make it. But where are they putting their money at? They're going to do the same 401ks, pension plans? Where you going to go work at? You going to work at Walmart and get a pension plan? No. You going to work at McDonald's and get a pension plan? No. Where are you going to go to get a pension plan nowadays? A 401k that fluctuates with the market. You all saw what happened in the market. For 2 or 3 months, people just got wiped out of their savings. We had people come to us and say, man, people were just recovering from 2008, 2012 situation. Wow, it took you almost 12 to 10 years to recover? Yeah, because they're in student loans. They say the average adult, average means best of the worst, worst of the best. You can give or take percentages. They say the average student loan debt is $26,000 plus. That's where we are nowadays. That's where we are nowadays. Someone typed into the chat, gold as of this very moment, based off of the manipulated market numbers, are 1949. Last week we saw gold at $2,000. The week before that, Warren Buffett bought a gold mine. And then we have all of these gold buffs saying gold's undervalued. It's going to go sky high. Well, why did it just go down this week? And then here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go where people don't want to go. Everybody, for all the haters that say the dollar is shit. The dollar's trash. Why you think gold went up? People are around the world. They flock to one of the strongest economies, the biggest consumer-based economies in the world. America. Oh, the dollar's going to go to trash. Oh, really? Still one of the strongest currencies in the world right now. How many of you all are going out trying to buy other currencies and you live in the United States? But because you don't live outside the United States, you don't know that people are transacting oil, transacting other things in dollars. They're trying to get in dollars. The United States has been a tax haven for a long time. It's been a safe haven for wealth for a long time. Oh man, but they took the United States off the gold standard. What happens when the central bank puts their currency backed by gold and is regulated based off of gold? What happens when these cryptocurrencies regulate their currencies based off gold? Where are you going to put your money in 2020? Are you still in dollars? Are you going to crypto? Are you even entertaining crypto when the banks are going into crypto? It's interesting to see how they just pulled a quick one and a fast one over the general population. Very, very interesting and sad to see. But where's your money going? Are you even doing the research on the cryptos at this point or digital based currencies? People are scared, so they're going to them. But what about that term that we called inflation? Ladies and gentlemen, you have to do your research on these financial terms. You are living in a commercial environment. These are financial terms. You have to know what inflation is. You have to know what the consumer price index are. We looked at some information earlier from our worldview. Prices are going up. Y'all don't want to hear that though, huh? Y'all don't want to know that prices around the world are going up because more money was just printed in the past 6 months, actually in the past 9 months, than was printed almost in the past 5 years, the past previous 2 to 3 administrations. And you don't think prices are going to go up? Ladies and gentlemen, there's got to be a safe haven for you. So where to put your money in 2020? You want to know? Here we go. Yeah, guess what? The vault. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. You put it in your private education. That's where you put your money. You bet on yourself in 2020. That's not financial advice. That's self-edification. Where do you put your money in 2020? You put it in your brain. So when all else fails, you're always going to win because you're investing in your private education. Whether that's trustee training, whether that is you getting some financial books, getting a consultation, whether that's you starting a business, that's where you put your money. So where you put your money in 2020? In yourself. How many of the pundits on the internet are telling you that? They're telling you we don't know if the market is solid right now. We got the hoopla. We got the this. We got the that. People have heard the message over the past 6 months. The Vault didn't even do episodes the first quarter of this year because we were breezing. And still are. We've always invested in our private education. But when COVID hit, we found that as an opportunity to share, well, hey, we called it in November of 2019, just like every other great investor said, well, there's a stock market crash coming. Did it happen? Did it wipe people's savings out? Hold on. Did it put you all on government dependency for 3 to 6 months because you didn't have a job? Or your job had took layoffs or furloughs? But people think those jobs are going to come back. The lucky ones had a job throughout this situation. They were called essential workers. Was your job technically called a non-essential job? Oh yeah. How many people were considered non-essential? Here you go. If you're doing some work that can be automated, you're non-essential. We saw Whole Foods in front of our eyes get rid of 4 to 6 lanes. You all have walked in Walmart. They got 12 cash registers now and only got 3 cash registers open. You think they're going to put 6 more people back in after COVID? Yeah, right. You already knew they weren't going to put any more people in. They're going to put more and more automation in the stores. Where do you put your money at? You put your money into your education to either develop the technology for Walmart, develop the technology for Whole Foods, develop the technologies. You all can take computer programming courses. You can invest in your financial education. That's what the internet pundits, these guys that are getting paid $30,000 to $60,000 for journalism over CNBC are not telling you all. That's what's going on. Where you put your money. Put your money in your education so you can know how to beat the price of inflation. Because guess what? It's creeping. They just put trillions of dollars in the marketplace. Appreciate Mississippi for tuning in live. Feel free to type into the chat where you're listening from live. Ladies and gentlemen, these are things that even if you don't take them into account, if you have children, are you really about to set your children up for failure like your parents may have set you up for failure? Where you don't even know what the term financially is for inflation? Appreciate Florida for tuning in live. Appreciate the Bronx for tuning in live. Are you going to set your children up for failure where the jobs currently right now don't even have pension funds. Don't they literally have barely have 401ks. And the 401ks, people just took a stock split. But then their portfolio is tied to non-automated companies, which are going to die off. Ladies and gentlemen, for all you all that are just tuning in live, feel free to go back, because if you're not doing your financial research with the digital currencies, we did an episode say, oh, there's no such thing. We're not going to see a cashless society, you know. Appreciate Brooklyn for tuning in live in New York. We said, oh, there's not going to be a cashless society, you know. Everybody gets quoted for a bad thing once in a while. But we were saying it from the perspective of, you still see pennies in society. You still see dimes in society. You still see nickels in society. Do they have nickel in them? Do they have copper in them? No, the currency was debased. What do you think the dollar is going through right now? And all the currencies around the world, they're being debased by central banks printing money. This is not just happening in the United States. You think the United States is going to go under? What about all these other countries? China has Japan has an unlimited printing press for their country. Japan has been underwater for 30 years. Oh, but you think you're going to flock to the yuan over in China, right? Ladies and gentlemen, you can't even buy the yuan. These Chinese people have manipulated their currency, and they're not even allowing you to buy the currency. At least the United States allows you to get some skirt. At least they allow you to purchase their currency around the world. Appreciate the Bay Area and California for tuning in live, listening to replay. Oh, the game is on, ladies and gentlemen. With this technology push right now, with the COVID, coronavirus stuff, it is looking hilarious right now at what the public markets, the public opinions are doing to people's, literally your life savings, literally your retirement. So what happens when you get to 65? They say 9 out of 10 people are dependent on Social Security when they reach age of 65. 9 out of 10. And they say if you're making 50, you may get $1,500. Okay. What happens when you get there? So you get to what? 65. You can barely live on the $1,500. We already know you're not living in Bronx for $1,500. We already know you're not living in Brooklyn for $1,500. Depending on where you are in Florida, you're not living on $1,500 in Florida. We got someone in the chat. We already know you can live on $1,500 in Mississippi. That's definitely a guarantee there. But there's not too many places that people in the chat right now. We got someone even in the chat from Alaska. You're not living on $1,500 in Alaska. That's not rent. That's not even rent. Hold on. We're leaving a buyer's market going to a renter's market. Let them tell you, right? No. You all can go to a website called Deagle.com and go look at what the numbers are for the United States population. There's going to be a mass immigration and a mass migration in the States right now. You all don't want to believe that the markets are manipulated. That, oh no, there's this invisible hand guiding it. Why not? Didn't the flu happen? The Spanish flu happened in what? 1912, 18, whatever it was. And 100 years later, did the healthcare department get it right? No. We weren't prepared. Let the politicians tell you. We weren't prepared. Hands up. But guess what? Right now, children are doing technology education. Sitting at home, supposed to be learning. But children are being raised on technology. How many of you all that listen that are older in the audience, you didn't even have a cell phone before 18 years old? These children have 2 and 3 devices of technology, and they're not learning anything. They're barely learning something. They'll never even know what it is possibly to touch a real dollar, because they're going to be dealing with the CBDC, the central banking digital currencies. They may never know what it's like. And people don't know what inflation is either. This is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Where to put your money in 2020? Your private education. That's not financial advice. That's just trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. That's a financial education. When do you start? You start now. Because these people are making radical changes to your financial future right now. They're not even giving you a chance. They're literally shaking and baking and lying to you in front of your face. And they're paying people that have colorful personalities. They look good because their hair is slicked back. They have really nice lighting on TV. And they're saying, hey, look, we'll pay you 30, 60, $80,000, barely $80,000 as a journalist. You don't even have to do investigative journalism anymore. We're literally going to tell you what to put out. Hold on. Amazon owns Washington Post. He tells them what to put out about Amazon. No wonder you didn't know about stock splits. Oh, okay. So that's where we are in 2020. Big corporations are investing heavily in media. The alternative sources such as The Vault, and there's others out there that are helping people focus on their financial education. Robert Kiyosaki's been talking about it for years. To invest in your financial education. Why is financial education still not taught in schools, but for some odd reason, their parents were dependent on PPP money or PPE money, whatever that, the government money. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. You may have never took a dime from the government, but somehow you got tricked during COVID to take it. They already said 9 million people are supposed to be reporting their taxes this year that didn't report their taxes because of what? Because of their COVID, because of them taking the PPP money. They didn't even report previous. Now they got to report. We had people literally contact us through consultation. We're not saying this. This is for the three-letter alphabet names. This is a hypothetical for all you all that are listening that aren't alphabetically assigned, government entity otherwise. There were people that contacted and said, "I got a check sent to me, and I didn't even know how I got a check." But these were people that didn't deal with taxes, though. Let them tell it. So you're getting checks sent to you. Yeah, my mother filled it out for me. My uncle filled it out for me. So you got some free money. You thought it was free though, right? Guess what? Inflation's free. And consumer prices, we could take you all to consumer indexes right now that will show you that consumer prices are rising. And if you don't think good food is going to cost you more, it is. But hold on. If you can't stay healthy during times of COVID, what do you think you're going to do? Die. If you can't eat right, you're going to eat bad and you're not going to last. But the prices are going up to eat healthy though, Trust Christian. That's right. You're going to have to pay to play. That's what's going on. So where do you put your money? You got to invest it on the inside. Whether that's eating right, whether that's your education, it's not financial advice. We got to keep selling this because there's a bunch of unaccredited investors that are listening. And hey, if you go out and lose your shirt by, so many people come to the vote and say, I've been listening for 2 years and I haven't invested in trustee training. But hey, did you take PPP money? Hey man, it was free. SBA was giving everybody money. I made sure I got my $10,000. How many trustees came to trustee training and say, yeah, I got my $10,000? None. None of them did. Because we're in the private. We understand it's owned not to control everything. It was tied to your name. No. It was tied to my business, Trust Christian. Hold on. Is your business a sole proprietorship? Hold on. Yeah, exactly. Your social got the EIN for the business, right? Right. Interesting, ladies and gentlemen. My business got the money. I didn't get the money to my social. The business got my money. Hold on. Are you a sole proprietor though? What tax form does your business fill out? Well, I file it on my taxes. Hold on. You file it on your taxes. You file it on your 1040 taxes, right? Yeah. But the business got the money. Hold on. The business got the money, but you're going to file that you received a grant from the government. And don't think that you're not going to file and not get away with it. They know who they gave the money to. They gave it to the EIN. But who owns the EIN? Oh, hands up. How many of your accountants are prepared for that? How many are you all prepared to say that to your accountant? Hey man, don't leave out the grant money. Now, whether you all know it or not, This is the truth. Loans are not taxable. That go do your research. But not financial advice. Loans aren't taxable. The grant, not taxable, right? Ask your accountant. We encourage you all to ask your accountant. It's not an advice, it's an ask your accountant moment. But what happens if you don't disclose that you took that money? Because it was income, right? Right. A grant is still income. A loan is still income. But hey, it was free though, right? You don't think you're going to have to report it though, right? That's where we are in 2020. Where to put your money. Better put it in your financial education. Time's ticking. You got 3 to 4 months left in the year. Guess what? Y'all, do y'all really think this last fourth quarter is about to suck? Amazon has done one of the best PR campaigns ever. One of the best PR campaigns. They're going to have a boom in fourth quarter. Guess what? Social engineering says, social programming says, hey, you don't need to go to the malls. Malls suck. Malls are going to shut down. You don't want to catch a cold. You don't want to wear a mask, walk around the mall for 3 to 5 hours, trying to shop for Christmas presents and all these. Hey, Black Friday, isn't that what it's called? Yeah, Black Friday. Black Friday is a waste of time now. Guess what? Guess what's going to get the new money? Cyber Monday. It's probably going to have an all-time high this year because people have been socially engineered and socially programmed to shop online. But are you spending money or investing money? See, when you invest, you get a return. But when you invest, you also put the money at risk. When you spend, there's no risk. You're just getting nothing. How many of you all are investing? Every dollar that you let leave your hands, is it investment or is it a savings? This is the thought process of unaccredited investors versus accredited investors. Are you investing or are you spending? Well, no, Trust Christian, I'm saving. But you forgot about inflation, so when you take the money out, it's actually worth less. That's where we are in 2020. Financial education is at an all-time high as far as a necessity. Trust Christian and Evolve has been around for 5 years now, doing episodes. The only episodes we have available are the 2020 episodes. The previous episodes are a dollar episode. You can go through if you want to find out the previous episodes and get that year. Feel free. They're listed. You just don't have access to them. They're private. It's time to move on, ladies and gentlemen. People will listen to the Vault for years and say, I listen, but I haven't invested in my education. Well, is clean air free at this point? We know people in California that live in these areas with the fires and they get free air filters. What about the water that you pay for out of your tap? Hold on. So you actually pay for dirty water. Oh, no wonder people have COVID. Hold on. The sanitation isn't good. No wonder people have COVID. So what about the school system that your tax dollars go to? They don't even have clean water. What a joke. And if you think America is bad, they're considered first world still. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. They're first world. What about the other ones? The other countries? Third world, second world. You got a first world problem. You're paying for dirty water. They're spraying chemtrails, right? They're spraying chemtrails so you don't get mosquito bites, so you don't get the Zika virus. Oh, okay. That's where we are in 2020. People are having to pay for the what? Essentials. Clean air. Clean water. People don't even know. We were talking to someone the other day. They didn't even know the difference. They didn't even know who's Monsanto's. If you don't know who Monsanto's is, you have to check this company out. This is a company that produces the seedless grapes that you're eating, the seedless watermelons that you're eating. Now, how many women want a man that's seedless? That was hilarious. So how can you eat seedless fruit? How can you eat seedless products? How can you eat genetically modified foods? Well, Trust Christian, the good foods cost money. Of course it does. Clean air costs money. And so does clean water. No wonder people are getting COVID. Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing you can do, where you put your money where your brain is. You put your money where your mouth is in 2020. You have to invest in your private education. Trust Christian has always made it a point and an honor to serve because our mentors shared this with us out of the kindness of their heart. They were accredited investors. They didn't need to share the information. They shared it because guess what? People in trust deal with people in trust. How many people around you do you trust? Do you trust your accountant that's not going to file that you got PPP money? What's the point of hiding it? It's a grant. What's the point of hiding it if it's free, right? Did you do your research whether it was taxable or not? Let's find out if your accountant does a number and gets you hemmed up. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to the replay. Please feel free to share this with your friends and family. You know, in these times of what people call uncertain, it ain't uncertain unless you're unknowledgeable. When you're knowledgeable about capital, when you're knowledgeable about where to put your money, you might not go just dive into gold because gold's not going anywhere. But your education, if you don't have one, you might have never asked for government money a day of your life. But for some odd reason, when the government said they was gonna give out $10,000 for free, when they was gonna give out $2,000 for free, I'm gonna get my free money. The government owe me my money. Did y'all know that it could have came from Social Security? Did y'all read the bill that it could have came from the Social Security fund? Well, if it came from Social Security, I paid into it. So what happens when you get to 65? You have less money because you took some early money. So they didn't really give you money out of free thin air. They gave you what you thought you already put into the system. Ladies and gentlemen, it's only a financial education that you're missing. You're not missing money. You're missing financial education. How do you get that? You invest in alternative education. Because public school, think about if you're sending your kids to public school. They get a public education. They get the same education, probably worse than what you got if you're older. The children are not getting a better education than the older people. They're getting a worse education. Wow. With all the technology out, they're getting a worse education. Why? Because there's more entertainment on the internet than anything. Kids should be learning 5 to 6 languages right now through the internet. Hey, Americans. Americans are so arrogant. Even though English is one of the predominant business speaking languages, when you travel around the world, it's a business language. That doesn't mean that these countries don't have other languages, but if they're trying to do business with Americans, they're going to know English. What about you? Are you tapping into other markets? Americans? Are you opening up business and enterprising around the world? Guess what China did? China said, enough of us are going to learn English and we're going to get that American money. How many Americans are getting Chinese money right now? The yuan, the manipulated currency of the world. And right now, their economy is on pace to take over the United States GDP. It's reported by 2025. Wow. Hold on. You took government PPP money. Let's give you a hypothetical thought. Will your family or your children be working for a Chinese company that's not based in America, but they have an operation in America? Will your children be working for a Chinese company that has business in America? Guess what? Kia is here. Hyundai is here. Honda's in America. Toyota's in America. Sounds like foreign companies are in America employing Americans. Where to put your money? In your financial education. So you're not working for one of these foreigners. Your grandchildren aren't working for one of these foreigners. How about that? It's time for America to bristle up a little bit and get back on their American dream status, which is entrepreneur status. If you don't even have a business, you can reach out to the Vault and get a consultation and get your business started. If not, you already know you can go to a local lawyer and they're going to charge you an extra $500 to $1,000, maybe more in California, $2,000 just to start up your corporation. But this is the time to do something. Appreciate you all for tuning in live. listening to replay, enjoy the rest of your day.